Okay, then let's start today's session. So today we'll focus on the web crawling. So this session is also important because wherever you will join after doing your post graduation, so that organization will have their website, and it may be hosted on the some particular web server. To understand the concept that how these crawler works and how hacker misuse these crawlers and how they hack the web servers, from that point of view this lecture is also important, and this is most of the general knowledge kind of a lecture where these things should be known to every computer science student. So basically, what a web crawler do is, so obviously it has to start from something. So start crawling. So the URLs it takes to start crawling is called the seed URLs. It fetches all the HTML pages based on those seed URLs and parse them. Uh, in Python, it is very easy to do. It is in a single module. Is Beautiful Soup is a module that can be used to do this thing very easily. So in HTML page, we have many further hyperlinks in the anchor text. So we extract URLs. So one page is pointing to many other pages. So all those URLs are extracted and they are again put in the queue. And then we are supposed to visit all those URLs. So we fetch each URL on the queue and repeat the process. So this is a basic operation. Now we have to see that how this operation would we can optimize or we can change, or what happens when we do this. So there are seed pages. We crawl and parse. We find the URLs, and then we put them into URL frontier. URL frontier is the those URL which we have to further visit. So this is again a queue uh, which represents the URLs which we have to further visit. And then in the unseen web, we keep on doing that. So whatever web crawler is doing, obviously it cannot crawl the full web. The Google has many web crawlers which keep on crawling it. But even if you design a web crawler, so so you will also be start with some seed pages. So web crawling isn't feasible with one machine. Suppose, let's say you said that, okay, I want to generate a web crawler, but we know that web is very huge. So all the above steps which we have seen in the last slide are distributed. So multiple machines are required because web is very huge. You cannot crawl a lot of pages. So even in a recent one of my industrial project which we completed, we have to crawl all the websites and extract the job information. So if even if start with the Microsoft website, so that website was of size of 70 MB total size of pages, and it took us 4 minutes to crawl that website on a single machine. So obviously we need a very good machines to crawl the full web. Even for a single website, if I'm taking 4 minutes, so it would take a lot of time to crawl the full web. Then on the web, there are many malicious pages. There are many spam pages which are created to misguide the web crawlers. There are many spider traps. So web crawlers are many times are also called the web spiders because they keep on weaving the web. So they keep on generating the graph based on whatever they have visited. So that's why they are also called the spiders. But to trap this, any website can have a link, so which can recursively make it crawl in a particular loop. So these are maliciously created, just different pages which are dynamically updated, and it keeps on crawling in this particular loop. so that your web crawler doesn't get to know that these are the same page. So these are dynamically information is keep on changing, but they keep on making you in a particular loop. So crawler is keep on moving in a particular loop only. So these are the spider traps. Even non-malicious, even if I create a website, it may pose challenges. It may be possible that my web server is very slow, and to extract page it takes too much time to get web page. So that is because of low bandwidth at my end. So my web server is very slow and it takes a lot of time. So that is one of the reason. Then the webmaster, who is webmaster? The web server who is managing the web server. So that may stipulate how deep you should crawl to site URL hierarchy. Suppose even our PU site. So we have our own web server. So we have application firewall upon it. So that is called the web application firewall, which we are using the Fortinet at this time. So in web application firewall, whenever you write pu.ac.in your browser, it goes to domain name server and it fetches the IP address. So that IP address where it fetch our application firewall is there. Then it redirects to a particular machine where this pu.ac.in is indexed. But if I do not do it properly, I may keep on redirecting it and take you 3 or 4 steps down to get actual index.html, actual page. Maybe I keep on redirecting it. So if I keep on doing this, so it means that the crawler need to go very deep to fetch the actual page. So it just wastes the time of the crawler. Many times we also mirror the sites. Normally these application firewalls, uh, so they balance the your website load. Suppose I know that today more than 1 lakh people may visit my website. So rather than hosting it on one server, I may host on the multiple server, so that whenever a new request come, I balance the load on these servers. So many times this need to be done for a very popular websites. So they mirror the seed and they duplicate the pages, and but it is very difficult for the crawler to know that these are the different pages from coming from the different IP addresses. So all of these things, these complications need to be dealt by the web crawler. So I have listed very few, but these can be even more depending upon the way it could be malicious or it could be way you have set up your web server. And then there is politeness. You cannot, let's say you keep on visiting our website too often, and denial of service attack you can launch. So usually these are avoided by the firewalls. Like Fortinet, if you keep on visiting our website from a same IP address more than 10 times, so our firewall will block it. So denial of service attack. So it is up to the crawler to be very polite. They should not visit the server too often. Otherwise, normally application firewalls they block the crawlers. So what crawler must do? They must be very polite. So they respect implicit and explicit politeness. So whenever they are visiting any web server, they must visit only those pages which the crawler allowed to visit. Now, how the crawler know which are pages which are allowed to visit? Like for pu.ac.in, how it any crawler get to know that which are the pages which are allowed. So we make a file which is called the robot.txt. So it is in every web server. The first crawler read this text file, and this text file contains the list of pages which a crawler must visit or only those pages must be visited, not anything else. So, but hackers obviously, you know that hackers may not be polite, they may not be respecting this. So they may be visiting other pages which they are not supposed to do it. So robot.txt, this is very common question whenever you say that I am a web developer, or whenever in the interview you say that I am a web developer. So people usually ask, okay, what is a robots.txt? Because if you have hosted a website, you must maintain a robot.txt file in your domain. Most of the web developers in the course, they are not taught about this particular file, but this is must. Whenever you host your website on any web server, you must include this file also, to tell that the web crawler which are the pages which can be visited by the web crawler, and only those pages should be visited. So there is a particular way to write this. So web crawler must be robust. It must be immune to spider traps and other malicious behavior. So here, this is a increasingly research area, and people have to modify their web crawler to be very robust. So there are many malicious pages which try to fool the web crawler. So further, the web crawler must be capable of distributed, because we know that one machine is not enough to visit more than 1 million pages in a day. So it must be designed to run on the multiple distributed machines. Only then your web crawler can be successful. Or if you are doing on a very small scale, then it is okay. So otherwise, it must be capable of distributed operation. It must be scalable, so designed to increase the crawl rate by adding more machines, and performance and efficiency. It must permit full use of available processing and network resources. So web, we know that it keep on increasing. So that's why your crawler must be very much capable. Then now it must fetch pages of higher quality first. So now this is very tricky, that how to know that whether it is of higher quality or not. So this is a continuous operation. It continue fetching a fresh copy of a previously fetched page, so that it must read the meta tags first to know how frequently that HTML page updated. So many times when we create our website, we do not uh, write in the meta tags about the refresh rate, even though there is attribute for that. But if you look at the website of any news website, so they mention that okay, this is updated every 5 minutes or 10 minutes, and then there is another good site, let's say any Microsoft.com. So they may say they are updating every 1 hour or so hour. So this must be mentioned, and crawler must use this information to fetch the new copy. Then it must adapt to new data formats. So we know that the protocols on the web are keep on changing. Earlier, SOAP was simple object access protocol was popular, and XML was popular. Nowadays, JSON and other formats are popular, and again these are keep on changing. So crawler must be able to adapt to these changes. So once it start doing it, we must have multiple crawlers. So as I told you, we create a URL frontier. So this is a queue which is maintained by many crawlers. Each crawler is adding their URLs which must be visited next. And this URL frontier is used to keep on crawling. And each crawler, whenever they find a good page, they must add this to the URL frontier. So this is a must be in a shared memory, where each crawler keeps on adding the URLs, so that other crawler can then fetch it and can visit the website. Now, URL frontier is where the actual research, how to manage it. This is again a research area. So many researchers do not make web crawler, but they tell that how to manage this, how to make this. Since it can include multiple pages from the same host, so we must avoid trying to fetch them all at the same time. Uh, any one of you, why this condition should be there? Yes, any one of you. Srishti, Simran, Diksha, कोई भी, Vikesh. Shruti, कोई idea है? Why we must avoid trying to fetch them all at the same time from the same host? बड़ा कॉमन आंसर है इसका.
डुप्लीकेट्स के लिए.
डुप्लीकेट्स भी हैं और सपोज अब देखो pu.ac.in पे 100 पेजेस है, ठीक है, लेट्स से, और कोई वेब क्रॉलर सारे के सारे एक टाइम पे आएगा तो हमारी वेबसाइट को बिजी कर देगा, हमारे वेब सर्वर को बिजी कर देगा, क्योंकि उससे 100 रिक्वेस्ट आ रही है. सो इसलिए जब भी एक ही वेबसाइट से निकालना है तो एक टाइम पे ना निकालो. डू नॉट मेक दैट बिजी. सो दिस इज जस्ट टू मेक योर क्रॉलर वेरी पोलाइट. सो इसलिए भी क्रॉलिंग में क्या होता है, एक ही वेबसाइट से अगर हम क्रॉल करना शुरू करेंगे तो दैट वेबसाइट में ब्लॉक हो. सो जैसे अभी हम पीछे वी वर मेकिंग ए वेब क्रॉलर एंड जिसमें हम एज आई टोल्ड यू वी वर फेचिंग द जॉब डाटा. सो फ्रॉम ए पर्टिकुलर कंपनी साइट वी हमने सिंपल वेब क्रॉलर बनाया. एज आई टोल्ड यू कि वेब क्रॉलर अब पाइथन में तो एक 2 लाइन के कोड में बन जाता है. सिंपल एक लाइन के कोड में आप सारे पेजेस फेच कर सकते हो. सो वी डिडंट टुक केयर, और उस वेबसाइट में जितने पेजेस थे हमने सभी की रिक्वेस्ट एक ही आईपी एड्रेस से एक ही प्रोग्राम से हमने वो सारी की सारी पेजेस फेच करने की कोशिश की. दैट वेब सर्वर इमीडिएटली ब्लॉक्ड अस. उसको लगा कि शायद कोई डिनायल ऑफ सर्विस अटैक हो रहा है. So every day we keep on running the same code, and we were getting error. So we were not able to know कि why हम पेज fetch क्यों नहीं कर रहे, क्योंकि ब्राउजर में तो पेज खुल रहा था, बट जैसे हम अपना कोड चलाते थे so कोड में एरर आ जाता था. So because the web server is blocking us, so later on we get to know that okay, there is, since we are requesting from a one IP address all these things, so that's why it is blocking. So we can हम अपने प्रोग्राम को since we have a lab में हम अलग अलग जगह से भी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करके कर सकते थे, but main polite thing is we must not do it at the same time. करना चाहिए. तो इसीलिए यूरल फ्रंटियर भी है, हम उसमें से एक एक करके फेच करते हैं और जो बाकी पेज हैं यूरल फ्रंटियर क्यू में नीचे डाल देते हैं, एंड सो दैट एक एक करके हम फेच करते हैं. वी डू नॉट फेच देम ऑल एट द सेम टाइम. So this is just for politeness, and many web server actually block that. And we must try to keep crawling thread busy. अगर एक साइट से नहीं आया तो यूरल फ्रंटियर्स में क्या होता है कि क्यू बनी हुई है और क्यू में पहला पेज अगर नहीं मिल रहा आपको, यहाँ से ब्लॉक हो गया, फिर दूसरे पेज पे चला जाए, फिर तीसरे पेज पे चला जाए, और पहले पेज से जितने लिंक है उनको नीचे डालना चाहिए, सो दैट एक टाइम गैप भी रहेगा टू विजिट द सेम वेब सर्वर. So that's why this URL frontier is very important to maintain. Now, explicit and implicit politeness. Explicit is when you look at Robots.txt and visit only those pages which are allowed to be by the webmaster or the web server designers. So you only visit those pages. Implicit, when there is no specification, they have not managed the Robots.txt, but still we avoid hitting any site to open. We don't want to make them busy. Otherwise, that site will become busy if we keep on hitting that site. So both of these things are required for a good crawler. And for a hacker, obviously, hacker do not follow these things, and they may be attacking that website too often. Now, what is in the Robots.txt? So there is protocol of writing this. It was started in 1924, and still, if you want to look at, there is a full website that how to write this so that a crawler can read and understand the language written in this. Nowadays it is in Unicode. Earlier it was in ASCII. So website announces that what cannot be crawled or what can be crawled. So there is a way to write this, and every web server designer must write this. And every website developer, they must also put this file in their directory. And web crawler, before accessing index.html, they must read this. So they must follow these ethics to access it. Now, one of the example is how to write this. So when they visit, so file will look like this. User agent, if it is a start in any agent, so it disallow followed by the page number, page ID, or the directory which must not be visited. User agent, if it is search engine, then what is disallowed and what is allowed. Here mention all those pages. So many websites allow, like search engine, they can mention the IP addresses, like Google has given their DNS from it is coming. So many people want Google to allow, but if I make a program, since I have not registered search engine, so I will fall in this category. I must follow this thing. If I'm not following, then there is a website application firewall. Like there are that we are using it, and there are F5, Radway. There are many application firewalls which everybody uses nowadays. These firewalls actually are used to protect your website. So processing steps, pick a URL from the frontier, जो queue which we have maintained, we pick up. In which order we have to pick it up? Usually this is maintained as a priority queue. So this is maintained as a priority queue. So whatever is on the top is always of higher priority. Fetch the document at the URL, parse it, extract links. Now this is single line code in Python. You need not to do it. Earlier in Java, you need to write 10 to 20 lines. In C++, you may end up having more than 100 line of code, but a single line code in Java, Python. Check if URL has content already seen. If not, again a single line code in Python. For each extracted URL, ensure it passes certain URL filter test. Check if it is already in. Again, there are libraries for this. So in Python, there is a file using library for doing all these things. There is push, the library which is doing all these things. And again, for this, there are libraries. So making a crawler in Java is very easy to do it. So your actual headache of making crawler is not something which is in Python is it is very heavy. Only thing is now the next step, that once you fetch the data, then how to delete. So basic crawler architecture is from a URL printer you fetch it. So these are the seed pages which you fetch it. You keep on maintaining URL frontier. Obviously, DNS is required to fetch your pages. You parse them and you do it if content is in. So the dog fingerprint, as we have seen in the last lecture. So you can compare the duplicate pages. And so as I told you, now it is very easy to do in Python single line code. Then robots filters, duplicate URL elimination, and then you put into URL frontier. So you are this thing you keep on doing it. Now, as a researcher, you will see that who is going to do this. So, as I told you, to know that the jobs that could be one application, and let's say all these applications where particular product where it is being sold. For what particular product you have web pages in your city and that maintain one page or apps like InShorts. So they visit all the news websites. So news websites are seated here. Visit them and then extract the information. So there are many applications where web crawlers are used, even in the smaller applications to fetch the data of few websites again and again. And one example is which I did 20 years back. So in 2001, so I made a web crawler which fetches all the university pages of USA. So I feed in, there are more than 1100 universities in USA. So this was actually seed pages. So I fetch all those pages, pass them, and generate a new page where these courses are written, like MSc Chemistry. If you click on this, it gives information from the these 1100 university one by one. So web crawlers are not only for to indexing or to make search engine, even a smaller search engine can be made. So most of the researcher, when they're working in this area, they try to work in a smaller search engine. Suppose you want to visit all the website of all the medical institutes like AIMS, PGI, and other institutes. So let's say in country you pick up 100 of these institutes, and then you want to make a database of the doctors. Again, then you need a web crawler for doing that. You make a simple web crawler, it visit all the 100 websites of all the medical institutes, and then make a web database of the all the doctors. And the way I did for US universities, you can do it for the Indian universities as well. Now their website, you can fetch the faculty, or you can fetch the course details and the fees details. So smaller crawlers can also be made, and people are doing this uh, in many websites. All the websites that you have seen, like monster.coms or naukri.com, so these websites are created by having a smaller web crawlers and then fetching the pages and then making the indexing them. So that's why crawlers are being used everywhere. Nowadays, any app that you see, even last year we did a project where, which is for the lawyers. So lawyers के आपने, if you have visited any lawyers, तो आपने देखा होगा उनके ना पीछे उनके ऑफिस में काफी बुक्स पड़ी होती है. Have you visited any lawyer? कभी किसी लॉयर को विजिट किया आपने? तो लॉयर को आप कभी देखोगे ना, कभी आपने अगर कभी टीवी में भी देखा होगा, तो लॉयर्स के रूम में काफी बुक्स पड़ी होती है. वो बुक्स क्या होती है? ओल्ड केसेस की इंफॉर्मेशन होती है. तो जब भी केस होता है, दे रेफर टू दोज ओल्ड केसेस एंड देन दे फाइंड आउट कि अच्छा इस केस में ऐसा हुआ था. बट नाउ डेज सब सारा डाटा ऑनलाइन है. अभी ऐसी बुक्स नहीं आती, अभी सीडीज आती हैं, सॉफ्टवेयर आता है. और जैसे पंजाब एंड हरियाणा हाई कोर्ट का सारी डिटेल्स ऑनलाइन है, ऐसे सभी कोर्ट्स ने ऑनलाइन डाल दिए. सो अभी ये बुक्स नहीं होती, ऑनलाइन उनको सर्च करना पड़ता है कि ये केस, इस टाइप का केस पहले हुआ था कि नहीं हुआ. बट नाउ लॉयर्स, मेनी लॉयर्स वांट कि भी अभी उनको तो सर्च करना बड़ा मुश्किल होता है. सो दे नीड ए पर्टिकुलर स्मॉल एप्लीकेशन, मोबाइल ऐप ज्यादातर वो यूज करते हैं. अब हर रोज 100 केसेस का डाटा पोज हो रहा है. दे वांट कि उन सबकी समरी उनके पास आ जाए और उनसे रिलेटेड जो केस है उस ऑर्डर में उनको दिख जाए. तो उसके लिए भी उनको वेब क्रॉलर चाहिए. एंड दैट प्रोजेक्ट वाज आल्सो केम टू अस एंड वी वांट टू मेक ए वेब क्रॉलर to visit all these website of high courts and district courts and session courts, fetch data, and then make a summary out of that. So in all those cases, these web crawlers are being used. So in industry, whenever you join it, because data is something which is very important, and डाटा को fetch करने का major source web ही है, और वेब पे जितना भी डाटा है वो वेब क्रॉलर से fetch किया जाता है. So all the web crawlers which are there, so आप जितनी भी वेबसाइट देखो तो it keeps on doing that. So whenever we say that our data is illegally fetched or legally fetched, so they keep on doing that. They keep on visiting banking website. They keep on visiting the e-commerce websites and keep on getting the data which belongs to the user. अभी पीछे जैसे न्यूज थे कि someone has the big basket servers. So now they may have actually not followed the principles written in the robots.txt. So they try to get all the data and then from there they fetch the details. And sometimes even the maintaining the privacy is not required. Sometimes people do not want to know my name or other things, just to know that what kind of products I am dealing with. They can tell my economic status. So just on the basis of that kind of product I am purchasing. So if I am purchasing a mobile phone of let's say 15,000, so they can tell about my economic status. So these kind of things are taken by the many websites. So there are many examples for doing that. And whenever you join any organization, you will also feel like that these web crawlers are being used everywhere. Now, domain name server, you have to establish, even in PU, we have our own DNS. So obviously, a lookup service on the internet, whenever you write anything on browser, so whenever you write any website name, the first thing ISP does it goes to the DNS. So your ISP has internet service provider has fixed domain name server. There are some global DNS like DNS is this IP address and this IP address. So these are global DNS. But for Punjab University, we have our own DNS. So given a URL, it retrieves its IP address. If DNS has not indexed that, so it asks another DNS. And in this way, they keep on asking until they get the name of a particular website. But if you give something which is not in any, then they will give you error that address not found. So this is service provided by the distributed set of server. Even you can have your own DNS on your machine, and where in a very day or two, other DNS will find that you have your own DNS. It must be on the live IP so that others can find out. So common OS implementation of DNS lookup are blocking. So only one outstanding request at a time. So this is the way we implement DNS. So we do the DNS caching. So any website which keep on being requested again and again. Let's say you know that gmail.com it is being requested again and again. So the PU DNS cache this in the its cache because it means that the people may be asking this IP address again and again. So in that case, it won't keep on searching again and again. It cache certain important websites. So just by looking for the cache, it returns the IP address. Then the batch DNS resolver collect request and sends them out together. So it doesn't for each request it doesn't go. It batch them and then request other DNS that okay, I have these 20 requests, send me IP address of all of these 20. So these are the solutions being used by all the domain servers. So when a fetch document is passed, some of the extracted links are the relative URLs. So relative URLs means based on the base directory. So based on the base directory, I do not write the full URL because I assume that uh, base directory is not written in all the URLs. So that whenever I have to change it, I have to change the base directory and you need to change all the URLs. So this information you have to keep on adding. Base directory you have to add into the relative to make it absolute URL. So अगर आपने किसी ने भी कभी वेब पेज डिजाइन किया है, we know that कि हम पूरा पाथ नहीं देते, सिर्फ relative path देते हैं with respect to the first page. तो वो जब आप रिट्रीव करोगे आपको वो रिप्लेस करना पड़ेगा। तो जब भी आप मेन पेज से बाकी का वो आपको रिप्लेस करना पड़ेगा, जैसे विकिपीडिया के आगे के जो पेजेस हैं तो वो आगे के पेजेस बेस पेज के साथ करने पड़ेंगे। सो मस्ट नॉर्मलाइज सच रिलेटिव यूआरएल्स। एनी डाउट टिल नाउ? अभी तक किसी को डाउट हो कुछ इसमें?